Hey guys, this is Tommy again with FHALoanTexas.com, where we are your source for everything FHA. Today I'm going to be doing a short video helping out people that are looking to buy a home but just don't know what questions to ask before going out and hitting the streets. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over 4 topics that'll help you get all your ducks in a row, whether you're either buying your first home or your 5th home. We're going to talk about why you should not get pre-qualified, 3 things to ask your lenders, 4 things to ask your real estate agents, and then the most important, 2 most common mistakes that a lot of home buyers are making these days. So let's get into the first topic. So I want to get into why pre-qualification doesn't matter. When it comes to going out and making offers on homes, it honestly holds absolutely no water. All a pre-qualification is the monthly income put up against the monthly debts, and out like a jack in the box pops some magic numbers. So with that being said, if you go to a real estate agent and you say, hey, I've been pre-qualified, they're going to ask you to take it one step further, which is basically the pre-approval. What a pre-approval consists of is a loan officer verifying the income, going through their credit report, making sure there's not any disputes, there's not any collections that need to be addressed. In addition to that, calculating your debt to income ratio, making sure all the numbers match up. And then one of the most important final things is checking all the documentation to make sure that it matches up with what's on the loan application. All these things are very, very important when you're starting to go and wanting to make offers on homes. It's a very crucial first step, and if you don't do it right, you could kind of get into a bind later down the line. So remember, a pre-approval is much more important than a pre-qualification. So going into the second topic here of getting answers from the lender that you choose to work with, one thing you really need to ask is how long they've been in the business, and by them I mean the actual loan officer. And one thing you guys really have to understand is that the lender's name, however big it is, the name does not matter. It's whoever you choose to work with and the experience that they bring to the table that matters. I've seen several occasions where I'm not going to name names, but a lot of bigger places have kind of dropped the ball because the person that they had as a loan officer didn't do their job correctly, or they didn't understand all the guidelines, what have you. So again, it's very important that the experience comes into play when you choose whoever you're going to work with. Another important question to ask the lender is, what kind of fees do they charge? Knowing what each individual lender, everybody's going to have different fee structures. It's going to help you budget come closing time, and it's very important to know this up front as well. So you definitely need to understand that the fees are going to vary from lender to lender. Sometimes they're really close, sometimes they're really far apart. So each individual company is different, but just like Walmart and Target, I mean, no 2 lenders are exactly the same. So definitely keep that in mind as well. Another important question to ask the lender is what do they really do to monitor rates, and do they even know what affects them? These days with online lending, anyone can throw out numbers. Now these days we're held a little bit more accountable to what we throw out, but that doesn't mean a little bait and switch doesn't still exist out there. So you want to work with a lender that follows a market, because there's certain economic reports that come out every single week and every single day that can swing rates either really high or really low. So someone that's actually taking a look at that and understanding what's going on is definitely going to help you choose a lender that you should work with. You'd be really surprised that asking these 3 simple questions, how much it can trip up a lot of lenders out there. So especially the third one, you're going to start hearing a lot of pausing and when you ask what actually affects interest rates. So when you hear that, you kind of know who you're working with. But that's it for what questions that you should ask your lenders. Now moving over to what you should ask the real estate agents. One very important thing, especially up front, that you should ask is are they full-time? Because there's a lot of part-time real estate agents out there that it could potentially hurt you if for some reason they don't know the market as they should, or they're not returning your phone calls because they have a daytime job. So knowing a real estate agent that's going to be full-time working for you will definitely be to your benefit. Another question you should ask is, what areas do they specialize in? And by asking this first, you can actually kind of trip them up, because a lot of them will definitely say, "Oh, all of them, honey," but the point is that a lot of them, they don't know jack about a lot of areas. And I'm not just dogging on realtors here, but I'm just saying that a lot of agents and a lot of loan officers, they'll just throw out a lot of steam. So you just got to be on your toes in terms of what you're asking them. So in terms of the areas, you want to the agent. I mean the area that you're looking in. You want to make sure that the real estate agent is kind of knowledgeable in that area. Do they know if it's declining? Is it improving? What a CMA is a comparative market analysis, and what that is just an assessment of the home values. So you can pick out a house and say, how much does 1, 2, 3, 4, Road Street cost, and they should give you a good indicator in terms of a value on it. Something else also that is going to come into play here is, they're going to know if the area is safe. How are the schools? I mean, these are very important things in terms of what the areas have in store. So different areas are very different everywhere. So there's areas where you can cross a highway, you can be in the ghetto. So it's very important that you work with an agent that knows the area that you're looking into buying. Another question to ask is, how many clients are they working with right now? This will give you a pretty good idea on two things. The first thing is, if they're good, because if they are good, they will have a decent amount of clientele. And two, if they're going to be too busy for you. With the market kind of being hot as it is now, a lot of agents and loan officers are taking on a lot of business that they may not be able to handle efficiently. So these two questions are going to be very important in determining if it's going to be a good fit for you. At the end of the day, you just have to go with your gut and make the right call on it. So just make sure you make a good choice on it. The last thing is kind of a little controversial thing, but I'm going to go ahead and cover it too, is buyer's rep agreement. Do you need to sign a buyer's rep agreement? What a buyer's rep agreement is, basically you're committing to an agent and saying, hey, agent Bob, I'm going to work with you for the next 3 months, and you're going to exclusively represent me and all my interests until we find a house. A lot of agents are required to do this. Sometimes their broker requires them to do that in order for them to work with clients. Some do, some don't. It just kind of depends. It's all over the place. So two things to look out for this are, how long is it for? Because a lot of them, they may be for 2 months, 3 months. Some may be for 6 months. So you don't want to get stuck in a contract with an agent that's not really doing a good job for 6 months. And I mean, that can cost you a house that you may want to get into if they're not doing it correctly and you find it on your own, for example. So and another thing you want to kind of look out for is make sure if you do sign one of these, you want to have a little clause in there that basically, if you need to fire them for them not fulfilling their duties and obligations, that you can. So just to recap on this, you want to make sure that you're working with a full-time agent that is specialized in the area that you want to buy in, that they're not too busy, and if they do make you sign a buyer's rep agreement, just make sure you have options if they're not doing a good job for you. That's all. So now, just to go over the very last topic here, just avoiding these two mistakes when you're looking into buying a house. The first of these mistakes is not budgeting at the very beginning. When you're looking into buying a house, there are upfront costs that you have to consider and to budget for. One of them being an appraisal that runs anywhere from $350 up. There's inspections. They're not required, but it's highly advisable that you do get one, because it could cost you a lot more money later down the line. Earnest money ranges anywhere from $500 to, I've seen anywhere up to $5,000. It just depends on the sellers. It depends on the house, how many offers there are, but you should budget at least $500 for that. And then the last fee on the option fee, that's kind of a get out of jail kind of free card. Basically, what an option fee is when you go into a contract on a house, you're basically paying this extra money, ranging anywhere from $100, sometimes it's $50, sometimes it's a lot more, to where if something goes wrong when you do have your inspections, that you can still back out and get your earnest money. So definitely important to put these into the equation when you're starting to look for homes. And then the second thing is to kind of piggyback on a thing on an item we spoke about earlier was not really getting pre-approved. And by that I mean if you're out and working with an agent that is still, showing you homes, and no lender has really gone through the documentation to make sure that everything matches up and everything matches all the guidelines and you're good to go, then you may be spinning your wheels. And honestly, if you're not pre-approved correctly and you do put an offer in and then something happens later down the line where maybe the lender didn't catch it or something wasn't disclosed all the way up front, you could potentially lose your earnest money, lose the house, and not to scare you, but you potentially could be homeless. So that's why these are the two biggest mistakes that a lot of home buyers make at the beginning. They don't budget, and they don't get all their ducks in a row. And these things are very, very, very important, especially when you're whether if you're buying your first house or you've been through the rodeo before and this is your 5th, 6th, 10th house. It doesn't matter. These mistakes can happen all the time. So I hope all this was informational for you. I hope it definitely helped out. If you have a question, definitely feel free to contact me by clicking on the link below. And until next time, thank you so much.